Hello guys, welcome to this channel. Today we are going to rank all 3 Riddlers. I don't really much to say. Go check out all my other Batman rankings that I've done so far. I've done 4 or 5, I think. I've done Batman actors, Batman movies, Jokers, Penguins, and now this is the 5th ranking I'll be doing. So not much to say, so I guess let's get into it. Last place is Frank Gorshin. Unlike the other 3, or I think the other 3 60s Batman villains, I think he was much closer to second to last than any of the other ones, because I think, honestly, the thing with him is that I think he's just fine as the Riddler. I think he's probably my favorite of all the 60s villains, because I love some of the very over-the-top riddles, even though they are so over-the-top, and they're kind of laughable at times. I think they still kind of work because they're kind of funny, but overall, I think he's a very campy version of the Riddler, very 60s, very product of its time, and I don't really have a problem with that. He works in the movie that he's in, but there's some very over-the-top things done with him, like he creates this little gadget machine. I don't know if it was him or the Penguin that did it, or even the Joker, but I still think he's pretty good in the role. I think he does a decent enough job, and I do actually kind of enjoy him here. So overall, decent enough version of the Riddler. Coming in at number 2, I almost put Jim Carrey below Frank Gorshin because it's Jim Carrey. It's not really the Riddler. But I think the reason why I put Jim Carrey ahead is because I think he's just so much fun in the role, brings so much life to it. Even though it's just him playing Jim Carrey, which is okay, I guess. And but I think the thing is that it's a lot of fun. There's some very fun sequences. Riddle me this, riddle me that. For example, very Joel Schumacherized version of the Riddler as well. Not even just that, it's Jim Carrey. It's very Joel Schumacherized. I don't really know what other way to put that. And I think he still does a pretty decent enough job in the role. I think he's fun in it. He has some good stuff with Batman, but I think the problem is, and I think the Jim Carrey does a fine enough job, but I think the problem is that the overall character of the Riddler here, the way his motivation is very weird. But I think once he turns into the Riddler, I just think I think Jim Carrey is a lot of fun here, and that's sort of kind of why I just have fun with this character. It's because of Jim Carrey. I think that's sort of why I like this version. But I think as a version of the Riddler, I would have put Frank Gorshin ahead. But I think Jim Carrey is just a lot of fun that I kind of had to put him ahead. Coming in at number 1 is going to be Paul Dano's Riddler from The Batman. Kind of easily. It's not really even a competition. I think he did a great job here. Very creepy, very fun, very menacing, very interesting to follow, and I think as you sort of learn about the backstory of him through that great interrogation scene, everything sort of builds together, and I think he does a great job. A little over the top at times, and then in some of the way things play out, but I think he's very smart. He's very strategic, but I think the only issue I have with this version of the Riddler is just pretty much like a lot of other Batman villains just put into the Riddler. The problem is it's not really anything like, besides just the overall personality and what's going on in the overall movie with the Riddler, it doesn't feel like that unique of a version of a Batman villain, because he's pretty much all the other villains combine that with a great Riddler star. I don't know, that's just my thoughts. I still think he does a really good job. I still think this version of the Riddler is great. One of my favorite Batman villains. But I just wish he got a little bit more screen time. He's only in like 2 real big scenes. But still, I think his plan and the way he thought it out is great. And the way it all kind of comes down to, and his little streaming thing that we figured that out, I think all that's really interesting. Great character overall. And I think he easily comes in at number 1. And I'm excited to see what else they do with him. Same with Colin Farrell's Penguin. To wrap up for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Share your ranking in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next time. Adios.